welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber Rage, and this is Spreading Algae Pox. Pox, named after the card Smallpox, is one of the BoshNRoll specials. The real sickos know. They know that I love this, and I know that people show up to watch this when I get to record with it. Black, each player loses a life, discards a card, sacks a creature, sacks a land. On the surface, this is an equal exchange. If all of these things just happen, then the caster of Smallpox is actually down a card because they use the card Smallpox to then cause everybody to lose these four things. But we've built our deck to think about this, and hopefully the opponent hasn't. That means we got stuff like Life from the Loam, which means our lands can come back. Sacking a land doesn't hurt so much. We can fill our hand with extra lands. Discarding a card doesn't hurt so much. The deck is mostly creatureless, or it's creatures we don't mind sacrificing. 6 is the only real creature that would be bummed to lose to a Smallpox. And then there's Grist tokens and Orcish Bowmaster, just a powerful card in the format, brings its own extra body, so you don't have to sacrifice the real body when you cast Smallpox. Cool how that works. Spreading Algae, kind of the goofier one here. I've played a lot of Pox, and in fact I've played decks with Spreading Algae many times as well. This is a hoser from Urza Saga. It's meant to punish black decks. Enchant Swamp. When enchanted land is tapped, destroy it. When this aura is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return it to your hand. Many years after Urza Saga, in Planar Chaos, we got Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, which makes every land a swamp. Which means you don't have to be playing against black decks to now put their lands in the squeeze. Spreading Algae adds up quick, especially when you're boxing and getting rid of lands in other ways. We've got Liliana ticking up every turn, reducing the number of options. This deck is all about just reducing the number of your opponent's options every turn until they just don't really have any options anymore, and then you can win with whatever's left. This deck's big payoff is Karn the Great Creator. This card is just pretty well positioned in Modern right now. There are a bunch of decks that care about their artifacts, Mox Opal decks, various Tron adjacent strategies, and Karn gives you the toolbox to do whatever you need to do. If you're behind, Ensnaring Bridge. If you're ahead, Palantir of Orthonk. If nothing's really going on, start blowing up all their lands with Liquid Metal Coating. If they're combo decks, Stonebrain or Chalice of the Void. They're coming out of the graveyard, Grafdigger's Cage. Karn's not new, but it is fun to have this toolbox in this deck. Unlike Legacy Pox, a deck that I've played many times if you're interested in that, two really important cards are missing in Modern, and that's Mox Diamond and Wasteland, which means rather than going full hog, Life from the Loam, destroy all their lands all the time, this does have to be a kind of mid-range Golgari deck that plays to the board. And I think with our pile of Planeswalkers and card advantage permanents, we've done our best to tune this up to compete with the Modern meta. Let's try it out. This is Algae Pox. I'm on the play against none other than Aspiring Spike. He's probably live streaming this, so if you're coming to my channel to find my part of the match much later after watching Spike do it live, welcome. Remember to subscribe while you're here. I am going to keep this hand. Unearth's a little wonky, but I like the double Pox. Really try to get something going here. I'm going to fetch a basic swamp and just invest this Nile Spellbomb. Nile Spellbomb, there's enough stuff going on out of the graveyard in this format. Stuff like Flage. That Liliana's not completely reliable anymore. Alright, here we go. Let's try to get a massive cook here. Alright, no Force of Negation. That's good news for me. We're going to get that basic. We're going to get that Tameo. That was value. Now the problem with Pox, and this is always true, what do we do next? Saw Perfect Springs. You have to keep the stuff rolling, or else you're not really doing anything. Right, I'm just going to Spellbomb and draw a card here. I gotta find something like Thoughtseize. Alright, Underground Mortuary is what I was going to fetch anyway. And now I have 4 lands lined up for this Karn. If opponent plays another creature, I can Pox again. Opal, Emery. Okay. There's just an opal in there. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is play Misty Rainforest and then just sack Misty Rainforest to Smallpox. Does that make sense? I'm going to discard Unearth because it's not useful. I guess it makes sense to thin my deck, but I want to draw mana, so maybe it doesn't. Like, I could play Misty and sack it, or I could sack one of the lands I already have and then play Misty, is basically the thought. Alright, I'll just Pox again. Discard Unearth, sack Misty Rainforest. Opponent's down to 2 cards in hand, not close to this Mox Opal being on. Perfect Springs is back. Quantum Riddler, oh no, with 1 card in hand. That's a good card to have here. That card's quite good against Pox. It hides in exile, and it's just a draw engine. Alright, I'm getting bobbled. Grist the Hunger Tide, something to do. This is what I was waiting for. Just something that can do anything and start to turn the tide. Alright, Hungry. I milled a Spreading Algae. I don't have an Urborg, so that's fine. This Karn out of hand. I really hope we get there because just randomly having Karn versus a deck with Silver Bluff Bridge in it is a big deal. Okay, this turns on Opal, having Amber and Spellbomb. Land is a big draw. Ooh, Bowmasters. I don't hate a Bowmasters. I'll plus Grist. Milled over Urborg. Light from the Loams are good hits to mill because I can set up something down the road with that. Alright, they're warping out a Riddler. And it can use Spellbomb to clear this Bowmaster, but I am at least going to apply the pressure that I can apply. Yep. Necessary. Back up to 3 cards in hand. Multiple Riddlers now in the Warp Zone. Emery. This would be a great turn to draw a land. Toxic Deluge. Interesting. Well, opponent can't block if I attack. This is now 5 mana, so the Riddler can re-arrive. I'm just going to attack first, and then I'll kill Emery with Grist. Okay. Oh, nope. Just remembered I have Orcish Bowmaster in my hand. Good call. Good call. Alright, sacrifice a creature. I'll sacrifice this insect to kill Emery. Turns off Mox Amber. Grist still has enough counters to kill Quantum Riddler if opponent has the mana. And they know I have Orcish Bowmaster still. Life total getting pretty low over there, down to 8. Ooh, the Pineapple Emissary. This thing's really good. This is very good against decks that are trying to win with Edict effects. Speaking of Edict effects, how about you eat this dick? Karn the Great Creator is online. Splat. Alright, I'll start blowing up lands. Alright, had enough. Cool. Well, that was a great showcase. It's a good deck to be a Karn right now. I like Chalice. Chalice on 0 looks actually really effective against the deck. The Toxic Deluge, I didn't have to reveal that. Opponent might be trying to set up big Pinnacle Emissary turns, or is just like past turn 1 with 6 creatures in play or something. I am pretty effective against that. Interesting that Spreading Algae destroys the land, it's not sacrifice, so those indestructible artifact lands actually matter. I can't get those. Nile Spellbomb does matter. Bitter Triumph does matter. Most of my cards are good here. I think I'm going to cut this Splendid Reclamation. Rage and I had a session where we worked on this deck together, and I'm going to be honest, this was my idea, but I don't remember why. It's just like a big, all my lands are back reload in the mid game if you find it. But I don't know specifically why we would want that. I'm going to be honest, this was a goofball idea that made the final list, and I'm not entirely sure why. Hopefully it has a moment. I'm just bringing in the Chalice. It looks good on 0. It might be fine on 1. Anything else I can wish for with Karn. Veil of Summer doesn't seem important. Break the Ice doesn't seem important. Though I imagine this deck does have Urza Saga in it. Oh, we got it. Urborg Algae, folks. We're online. I'm keeping. Bonus on 6. Oh, the one I can't kill. Lucky. Forest, Spellbomb. I'll play the Forest as a ruse. It'll tap for black next turn. Build your own Overgrown Tomb. Oh, there's the Emissary. How many dopes are coming? There's 1. There's 2. Double Emissary's crazy. And me without my Chalice. Here's 2 more dopes. Thought Monitor. That's a real dope. 1 card left in hand, plus the Straw 2. Played another indestructible land and a Mox Amber. Okay. Opponent has put me on quickly find Toxic Deluge or bust. Oh, Thoughtseize. Nice of you to show up, you asshole. All right. I guess I should play around Metallic Rebuke as much as I can anyway. Just sadly kill one of these things and then take a huge crunch from everything else and hope I draw exactly Toxic Deluge. All right, Emissary from Exile for real this time. Bobble's funny because it makes a creature when they cast it, but also I kill a creature if they use it, so it's kind of free to use. Toxic Deluge, one-time dealer. 2 outer. All right, that wasn't it. This doesn't fly, but the drones do. We've got 8, 9, 10 drones. I'm at 11. That's not very much. I think it's safe to say. I guess I'm technically at 1 here, but I'm running out of outs. Is there anything that still saves me here? Do I play 6? Do I just Spellbomb? And I guess I can save some damage by killing Thought Monitor with Bitter Triumph, discarding Spreading Algae. Thought Monitor, discard Spreading Algae. I won't be casting that card this game. Spellbomb you and draw an emergency card. Mortuary. I only need to... Okay, popped the Mishra's Bauble in my instep. That's... Oh, the Upkeep Dismember. Alright. Played around it. I only need to Deluge for 1. That's not even true because the actual 3/3's in play. Alright, yep, we've definitely lost this game. We're very good against the grindy Wizards part of the deck and pretty bad against the Turbo Affinity part of the deck. Alright, they got me. Alright, it's my turn to be on the play. Thoughtseize, Chalice of the Void. There's nothing in the deck that would help here. Like, Damping Sphere stops those turns from happening, but is it possible this is correct? I guess, like, they are trying to go, but this won't kick in until turn 2 at best. I'm not really double spelling ever. This might be necessary, or at least just anything that could help a little bit. I might be interested in. Okay, with multiple indestructible lands in the deck, I think I have to go on Spreading Algae to make room for this. Let's do it. No lands. Disappointing. Handful of phenomenal cards for the matchup. Mulligan this. Alright, this one's not as good in the matchup. Karn is here somewhere. I think I'm going to bottom the Spellbomb and then just kind of hope I get a turn without a million creatures in play. So I have the Pox and the Loam. I've got engines. Really wish I had Thoughtseize though. That's like the piece. The Emissary is the only card that I care about here, and I can't take it. Okay, we got a gotta do math in the chat and then a mulligan to 6. The math must not have been mathin'. Right, I'm gonna bottom the Spellbomb. I think having Grist to turn the corner is better than having Spellbomb. Like, I could just invest the Spellbomb and play as a passive card draw that's there someday. But with Loam, I think I get a lot of grace that I don't get under normal circumstances. A bridge. Am I getting a turn? Opal. It's not on yet. Amber. Opal's on now. We are 3 cards down from potential combos, though. Alright. Emery. Oh no. Pithing Needle will. I'll fetch in response. I hope this doesn't name Verdant Catacombs. That would be such a sick read. But now I don't care. Alright, Nurturing Peatland on top. Karn the Great Creator. Okay. That's a someday problem. But my opponent is going to have 1 card in hand here. I am going to fetch Basic Swamp for this, because I'm going to Loam starting next turn anyway. Pox, discard Loam. This kills land, Emery. Leaves opponent with 1 card in hand. This Opal is on though. Ooh, okay. No follow-up. Dredge Loam. Loam targeting Swamp, Urborg, Misty. Alright, now I'm set for the rest of the game, and I just need to hope that I'm still playing when we get to that point. Ooh, Stop Perfect Springs. Opponent's got something to do now. Riddling from 1 card. My nemesis. I'm done dredging Loam. I have what I want. I'll play Urborg so I don't have to take a damage. Grist. Get to work. Now I can kill some big dummy or tech dummy that comes into play here. 4 cards in hand is so many though. Even Resolving Karn, even if I can't activate it, still cuts off 2/3 of my opponent's mana. 3/4 of my opponent's mana. And their clues. Oh, too late now. It's already a Planeswalker. I can kill that with Grist, it's fine. And the Retamio. Alright. Alright, I've drawn enough lands now, deck. We can stop. Swamp, Karn. Karn doesn't do stuff. Right, sack the insect to blow up Tameo before it buys back Thoughtcast. And now we're in Tameo and 1 blue mana versus 2 Planeswalkers, one of which doesn't work, but does have a powerful passive ability. Kind of fake magic, but Loam is trying to create fake magic. All right, had a Thoughtcast from hand. That does work. That does flip Tameo. I can work on that over time. Yikes. All right, I'm going to draw with Nurturing Peatland. Okay, I don't hate that one. Misty Rainforest from hand. Liliana. Start beating up that handful of cards. Discard my redundant Urborg. Grist make a homie. And pass. We got the Pox thing Poxin, but my opponent does have a powerful draw engine in play. Yep, cards like Thought Monitor are very good here. I can minus Lily and then minus Grist and deal with both of the things they have in play right now. Tameo's got to rebuy a spell. Opponent knows I can just kill that. Okay, went up to 6. Must have a plan. I'm not dredging Loam. Chalice of the Void. Interesting. Okay. Dismember is probably the plan here. Okay, I'm going to -2. Kill that Thought Monitor. I'm going to plus Grist. I'm not going to lose to Dismember if I don't have to. Because Grist has 2 things. It's -2: then you may sacrifice a creature when you do destroy target creature. The sack is not part of the cost, which means they can kill my creature in response to the activated ability. There's no attacks to be had here. Building out around Dismember. Oh, look at this. Losing life in my end step? What could this mean? A Dismember. My goodness. Who could have predicted? Tameo is about to go Super Saiyan, though. Okay, just buying back the Dismember. That is pretty honest. The Saga is ready to Saga, unfortunately. I am going to fetch to thin out my deck a little bit. Those lands are not doing anything else. I'm out of tech lands to get. I haven't milled over Boseiju, which would be great here. I now have to figure out what I'm doing against these Saga tokens, which is now the last frontier of this matchup. I could deal with them eventually. Okay, we're both going to discard a card. I don't need this Overgrown Tomb. And then I'm going to make a bug and pass. How many Pithing Needles are in this deck? There's no attack there because they just have a million to block with. 7, 8. The tutor makes it 9. I'm going to have to go to 5 to Toxic Deluge this board. And we've seen at least one counterspell. Okay, leaving mana up, not going full hog on constructs. I think if an opponent can turn off one of my other 2 Planeswalkers, they can start getting back into this. Or, I mean, they're in it, but I think they pull ahead. And right now we're kind of close where I think I'm doing a little more than they are. Voyager Staff. Exile, sacrifice this artifact, exile target creature, return the creature battlefield. All right, well, that doesn't do anything. There's a Dismember. Opponent's down to 8. We knew about that. All right, Tameo getting back the 3rd Dismember. And now opponent can kill a Planeswalker of their choice. Probably Karn, would be my guess. Opponent is at 4 life. There's only 1 creature in my graveyard, so Grist is not lethal. Yep, Karn. Losing Karn here now unlocks everything. Quantum Riddler with 1 card. Hate that for me. Thoughtcast. Yep, they're right back in it here. I think I might have to Dredge Loam this turn. Oh no, another Saga. Yeah, Saga's so good. This game brought to you by Urza Saga. If I mill 3 creatures, if I just dredge 3 creatures with Loam, I win. I don't have that many creatures in my deck. And I do have 3 creatures. I'm going to dredge Loam. We hit 1 creature. Okay, Life from the Loam targeting Peatland, Misty. Yeah, this is actually pretty tight here. I guess Liliana can clear the construct regardless, so I have a reroll to reroll here. Peatland, Dredge Loam again. There are now 3 creatures in my graveyard. We're almost there. Have you sacrifice a creature? Plus Grist. Life from the Loam, get back Nurturing Peatland, Overgrown Tomb, Verdant Catacombs. Okay. We almost got there. 1 more creature in my graveyard. Gets it. If opponent has Graveyard Hate or even just like a bounce spell on Grist, that's really good. We've seen Soporific Springs, like multiple of those. Thoughtcast. Oh shit, would I have won? I think I just blew it, because Grist would die and then count as a Planeswalker. I just learned an important rules interaction. Yeah, I actually had the win there. Bummer. But okay. Dredge Loam. I did not hit a creature. Loam targeting a bunch of lands. Beat land. Draw a card. All right, I hit some creatures. Minus Grist. Could have done this last turn. Oof. Okay, Miss Lethal, never punished. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2 with an extremely pox hand. No engine, but will mess up my opponent for a long time. I'm going to keep it and hope that they stay messed up. My opponent's on a mulligan to 5, which is all a pox gamer ever wants. Let's make it 4. Emperor of Bones, get out of here. There's a Thought Scour in their hand. I could also just, let them develop the Emperor. Yeah, I'm going to take Thought Scour, actually. If they develop the Emperor, I get an extra card off Smallpox. And they are naturally a black deck. At least, that's one of their 3 colors. Which is awkward that I helped them with Urborg, but they were doing it anyway. But it is good that Spreading Algae could find targets without my help. Okay, Undercity Sewer. If I had some sort of follow-up engine, I might have tried to mana screw them, but I know they have their next 2 lands anyway, so let's let them have a creature. Faithless Looting, alright. That's down another card. I hope they don't have a Born Oculus on the Reanimate right now. That would be tough. Okay. Got away with that one. Underground Mortuary. Toxic Deluge. I don't think I want that. My hand is just all removal. Come on, something that does something. That does something. Okay, I'm going to play Verdant Catacombs to keep clearing lands out of my deck, and I'll pass. And I have Bitter Triumph up, plenty of life to work with if they do high roll some sort of Thought Scour, Unearth, Abort Oculus situation. Bloodstained Mire, I did not know about that one. I'm just going to fetch in the end step, get one of my tap lands while I can, and I'll hold on to the Bowmaster. My plan is to Pox at some point. Spellbomb, LMAO. Does your deck care about the graveyard opponent with Emperor of Bones and Faithless Looting in your deck? Is that part of your strategy? Did you need that? I might just bomb them. Or no, I can kill an Oculus if they just cast it, so I'm not even going to bomb them here. Right, milled over an Unearth. Cycled an Unearth. Yeah, they suddenly realize that one's not going to help. The reality is I'm still not really doing anything. I'm not applying any pressure, though I have put a bunch of hooks in. So I'm talking a lot of smack right now, but maybe not for any good. Okay. They're thought seizing me. I will Bowmaster them in response. I don't want their Emperor to be able to snipe a threat out of my graveyard. My hand is just all removal. They took the Smallpox. It's mostly the same to me at this point. All right, we're in the Bone Zone. There are no creatures to exile, so I don't care about this trigger right now. I'll just untap and kill that thing. And leave my options open. Oh, my own Unearth. What a twist. I will pay 3 life to kill Emperor of Bones and then attack. Alright, we're starting to do something now. If they Thoughtseize me this turn, from 2 cards in hand, if they just go Thoughtseize with 3 mana still up, I'm going to have to bomb them in response, because then I won't be able to answer an Oculus. Okay, playing out the 5th land. Alright. Thoughtseize. Okay. Just from 0 cards, I don't have to bomb aggressively here. I am going to cycle my Unearth. I'm not doing anything with it. Can't target their graveyard. This isn't Legacy. Smallpox. Well, I'm not going to cast that. I am just going to bomb them now. I would like some action here. They're Hellbent. Found the action. Big Grist coming. Milled over a Thoughtseize I was never going to cast. We're doing it all. They can't play a Murktide, can't play an Oculus. They played out their 6th land. They're playing to that Hardcast Murktide. 7 mana, 3/3 flyer. I'm going to try to win this game without revealing that Karn is in my deck, just in case that is important. I have lethal without doing anything else. They're in top deck mode. Even like draw spells trigger Bowmaster here. Cool. All right, Smallpox, domination. I like Karn being able to grab something that affects the graveyard. I'm not going to bring in my cage. I think I'll just bring in 2 Veils here and Splendid Reclamation. Sorry, homie, you are not going to have a good day today. Splendid Reclamation, chillin'. I think I have enough spot removal that I don't need Toxic Deluge. If they get an early Oculus and trigger it once or twice, Deluge is the thing that could save me. But I think with my Graveyard Hate and instant speed removal and Thought Seizes, I'm okay without that. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to do here. Keep it light. Most of my sideboard is there for Karn, and the other half is there for Tron, and my opponent is not Tron. Turn 1 Thoughtseize is some action. This is not as disruptive as I'd hope, and they kept 7 this time instead of 5. Blood Crypt. All right. They probably seize my Seize here. It's the only real spell in my hand. Top deck Nile Spellbomb? Oh my god. Magic Online Bug. We love the Thoughtseize bug. Remember this card? Okay, Persist is the Reanimate. Psychic Frog is really good. I'm more worried about Psychic Frog than I am about Persist, even though they could just persist the Psychic Frog, but then they have to discard a card to even let it attack the first time. Gotta try. They would have just cast the Frog otherwise. And, like, is Frog even the best thing that they could persist? Do they want to try to set up Faithless Looting to high roll and Atraxa or whatever it is they're doing? Yeah, decided to Thoughtseize me instead. They knew 6 was my only spell. And still went for that. Not saying it's wrong, just saying it's notable. Might as well Loam while I can Loam. Liliana is here to answer this Frog next turn. Expect to see Undercity Sewer. Yep, there it is. I dumped an Unearth, so it is not their interest to get this Frog back, or at least not in the way that is easy. Faithless Looting. They do have enough cards that this looting could go land giant hit. Yeah, persisting this Oculus is actually the nuts. Yep, that gets around Liliana. I'm going to need a good removal spell very quickly. Can't afford to dredge this Loam. Don't need lands here. Yikes. All right, we're in trouble. Extremely dead. I'm going to fetch another basic swamp, and I guess I will minus Liliana. They were right not to fight over the Frog. That play would have been blown out. Oh, wow. This must be another Oculus or a Frog underneath if they sacked the Oculus instead of the Manifest. It's either like Oculus that doesn't have a -1 counter on it, or Frog because they think they need cards. Thought Scour yourself. Milled. Archon of Cruelty. All right, they do have proper Reanimator targets in the deck. Unearth Oculus. Yep. Yeah, that Toxic Deluge, that 1-up I left in. I'm going to need that pretty soon. Or Karn for Ensnaring Bridge could still save me. These lands are not saving me, so this is a hit for 9, and then I draw, and there's... I guess I could technically take 9 Deluge for 5 and still be playing the game. Alright, I got 1 draw. Troll of Khazad-dûm. Jump Scare a Legacy player. Shocked in Watery Grave. They have 3 mana worth of stuff to do here. This could be Hardcast Force of Negation, could be second main Abhorrent Oculus. Or Kaito right now. Oh, turn face up this Abhorrent Oculus. That means not even Toxic Deluge will save me. Alright. Yeah, this one spiraled out. They had, I think, 3 looks to find an Oculus after my Thoughtseize, and they did. And that's fine with me. That's why you put those cards in your deck. Alright, maybe I do bring in Cage knowing that they're full Insano Reanimator. If I'm caging for 5 mana instead of 1, I feel like Karn could get Ensnaring Bridge or something else at that point. Like, if I have that much room to operate, I think that makes sense. I hope it does, because it's happening. Smallpox, very bad against a Abhorrent Oculus, very good against Psychic Frog. Liliana, pretty rough, actually, versus the Reanimator deck. Like, how often can I afford to plus her? Yeah, I think I'm going to take out a Liliana for a Grafdigger's Cage. Is Liliana worse than Smallpox? Maybe I should cut my own Unearth, actually. Like, unearthing Grist or a 6 when you've milled past it, or buying back a Bowmaster are all fine, but now I have Graveyard Hate in my deck that affects my own Unearth. I'm going to do that. This hand is way too clunky. Gonna mulligan. This one is fine, I guess. I'll keep this and bottom I want Karn, but not till way later, so I'll bottom the Karn for now and hope one shows up when I need it. Yeah, Thoughtseize is fine. A strength of this hand is that it's extremely mid, which is not normally a strength. However, right now in this moment, I don't have any card that specifically interacts with their deck that they would need to Thoughtseize. And now I'm drawing live to Thoughtseize, Grafdigger's Cage, Nile Spellbomb. And Grist and Liliana can both kill something on turn 3. Like the Bowmaster can leave a body behind for Grist to sacrifice. That'll depend on if I draw a land next turn. I might just spend next turn setting up with Loam. Alright, they took Grist. That one can specifically kill Oculus, the best. Mortuary, Thoughtseize, that's why we keep these hands. Thoughtseize you. Emperor of Bones, Psychic Frog, Thought Scour. God, how does this work? Put a creature exiled with this ability under your control with a finality counter against haste. So this can put Grist into play and they can activate Grist once. Alright. Emperor of Bones, passive graveyard hate versus Loam versus Frog actually being good. I'm actually more worried about Emperor of Bones here. The Bone Zone's gone. Like this Frog, they have to decide if they want to even just play this into the Liliana they know about. They do know I don't have my third land right now, but I do have double black. Okay, they've rolled the dice. Deck. Untapped land, easy game. Ugh. Not an untapped land, not an easy game. Okay, I do have to spend this turn developing. That was the pinch point of hitting the Thoughtseize last turn, was we didn't get to dig for the land or set up the 3-drop this turn. Nile Spellbomb, we know is good against their deck. I can take a beat from Psychic Frog and then hope Liliana is still here for me at the other side. Frog's getting in. Just 1 damage. Thoughtseize is bad for me. A counterspell's bad for me. Another creature isn't great. Yeah, especially a second of the best creature. Do I want to Dredge Loam? No. I need to draw actual cards. Alright, Liliana, get in there, kill one of these frogs. Then she'll die to the other frog who will continue to draw cards. Because Psychic Frog also draws a card when it hits Planeswalkers. Why wouldn't it? Back in my day, you had to hit a player if you wanted an Ophidian. And now I have to dance around a Boron Oculus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, they stopped at 5 cards in the graveyard, so I don't need to respect Oculus just yet. If they discard a card to Frog, I suddenly have to worry about that. Emperor of Bones, that can clear my Loam. I don't like that very much. Well, alright, it can clear a lot of stuff, it seems. My thoughts have been seized. Do they want Bowmaster under there? Probably. That's got to be more important than Grist to them. Yeah. I think I'm falling behind here. There's still the Toxic Deluge in my deck. Psychic Frog hitting Liliana. It's interesting if that's even correct, because I can't afford to plus her. There's the Sewer. If I can draw a removal spell for Frog, I feel like I'm still in this game a little bit. Alright, that's not the worst card I could draw. I am going to bomb them. I'm not going to Dredge Loam off that bomb. Overgrown Tomb tapped. That should be suspicious, but, you know, what are you going to do? It sucks that Orcish Bowmaster is under the Emperor, which means they can just clear my Bowmaster at any time. I hope they commit first to that, and then I can get my creature under. They could also get Grist here. There goes Grist. It's not a very good creature to sneak out, though. Yeah, there's not even a play here because of the Bowmaster under the Frog. Like, I can't Bowmaster block, get an extra ping, make them do anything. Can't even ambush the Slot Scour. Ranger of the Seas. That card's annoying. They have tapped below Emperor mana to do this. I don't have a basic swamp in play. I do play several of them, but they're not here right now. Alright, now they can. They sandbag the land drop appropriately. Now they can kill my Bowmaster. Or just whatever they want. Can't afford to Dredge Loam. Alright, they got me. Little too many things going on there. The Psychic Frog. I wonder if I'm just not supposed to Thoughtseize. Like, what if instead of Thoughtseizing, I just locked that Loam, locked my third land? I know they have to play Emperor or Frog, and Emperor eats my Loam, which I don't mind too much because I've already gotten value. Liliana eats Emperor, and then we deal with the Frog on the next turn and moving forward. Maybe I just messed up that game. Of course, I was drawing live to the out of just drawing land number 3 naturally. but maybe I didn't have to play to that risk. Psychic Frog. I'll have a magic card. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round number 3. Boy, I hope I'm against a deck with swamps in it. Okay, I'm just gonna find my Surveil land and hope to hit Urborg, or hope my opponent's naturally playing black. And if they're doing none of those things, I can just Loam, or just Pox. Fetch land, my nemesis. Fetch lands don't play around Smallpox. We got that beat. I'll Spellbomb. Alright, yeah, I'll put that on top and then just kind of develop a normal looking game plan here. I'm going to play Spellbomb before playing my land. Like, if they cared enough about that to Spell Pierce it or whatever, I don't want to shock in to then draw a card with a land I no longer have. Meticulous Archive. There's no Kahira revealed. I'm a little worried I'm playing against some creatureless control deck. Okay. Do I want to test with a Smallpox or test with a Liliana? I could play Liliana next turn. Yeah, let's just see how much they care about Smallpox. Enough to counter it. I'll take it. This particular build of Pox didn't have room for Urza Saga, which is a card that is pretty good in Pox, because when you settle into grinding with life from the Loam, there's no better thing to get back than an Urza Saga, which would be great against grindy blue-eye control decks. A Quantum Riddler to the graveyard. Crazy looking art of that one. Okay, we're Jeskai something or other. I think I am just going to hit this graveyard now. I would like some action. Finding the Urborg would be nice. Unearth. That's good if I draw Grist or 6. I could just send it twice. I could cycle Unearth and play Loam. I could play Loam then cycle Unearth. But if I draw like Bowmaster or something, I would rather be able to cast that this turn. Okay, I'm going to cycle my Unearth. Splendid Reclamation, hell yeah. A master plan emerges. Loam targeting a single land. Hopefully this would be worth a Force Negation or something, but opponent didn't fall for it. It's shocked in land number 4. I'm not going to be dredging this Loam. Woof. Yeah, this is the case of all of the awkward cards lining up in a way that is not great. Toxic Deluge against a creatureless deck. Splendid Wreck when I have no lands in my graveyard. Spreading Algae when they don't have any swamps. Consult the star charts kicked. This puts 2 of the top 4 cards of their deck into their hand. I think my window to squeeze them out has mostly passed here, but I will continue playing. I'll fetch a basic swamp. Yavimaya, that's so close to Urborg. Thoughtseize is a great draw that lets me look at their hand and see if my Liliana can get in. It's a Fairy Time Reveler. Like my deck has instants in it, please. Please. They drew a card. Okay, they're currently tapped down to 2 mana, which is probably good for me. If I draw Thoughtseize right now, or something like Bowmaster to test a counterspell, I can get through on something. Bitter Triumph. Alright, I will cast and try to kill Teferi, discarding Yavimaya, and see if they want to interact with this. They might not, because it's already drawn a card, who cares? But if they do counter this, that's great for me. Alright, not great for me. Splendid Wreck. I could fire it right now, just get 3 lands back. Is that even good? I don't think so. I'm 1 mana away from Splendid Wreck into Liliana. I just don't think they have to worry about 3 random lands from my graveyard. Especially if I keep drawing them. Okay. Now it's 4 random lands from my graveyard. Can they deal with this sort of crushing mana ramp? Yeah, they don't even care. Which is probably the correct response. End step, Solitude, just creature, ready to deal damage. That makes sense to me. Yep, classic Pox problem of if you don't squeeze your opponent out in the early game and don't have an engine running by the time they get to do anything, you're just a really bad deck. Just poorly constructed Magic deck. And that is where we are now. Pox is a synergy deck, not a power deck. And if your opponent starts doing powerful things, You don't do much. All right, I mean, this might be good enough that they have to counter it. Smallpox. I mean, I probably wouldn't. I guess it depends on how much pressure they're bringing. If they just have another Solitude in hand, who cares? There's Counterspell. Here's Liliana of the Veil. Certainly they wouldn't have 2 counterspells in their 6-card hand. Subtlety. This is an outrage. All right, I'm dead. Okay, a blue deck. A control deck. Veil of Summer, I like Palantir of Orthonc just as an extra threat. And stuff like Toxic Deluge just has to come out. Splendid Reclamation. This card. All right, Splendid Reclamation's out. I'm not going to be like Stone Braining Counterspell. That's not my plan. I could bring in Stonecoil Serpent just as another card that does anything. If I have more bad cards to cut. Bitter Triumph, killing Planeswalkers isn't the worst. They do have Solitude, stuff like that I have to deal with. Nile Spellbomb might not be doing anything, but it is a cantrip. Is a generic cantrip worse than a generic threat? Is there a card that's worse than both? I believe in spreading Algae in a matchup like this more than most matchups, even though, like, if my opening hand just had Urborg in it, or I found one quickly, I think that game looks pretty different, because then I can shove and make them tap their mana for Counterspell, and then they lose a land, and I'm at least doing something, even if I'm not resolving my spells. I think I am going to cut Bitter Triumph instead of Nile Spellbomb. Just like drawing cards, I like doing stuff. Oh no. 2 Nurturing Peatlands gives this more juice than it otherwise looks like it has. I'm going to keep this and just fetch on turn 1 for the Mortuary. Against a deck like this, you don't need to be Thought Seizing on turn 1. What are they going to do? Right, the Parlor. Come on, Urborg. This is your time to shine, big guy. It's weird to be hoping to draw a land when I have so many lands. Another squeeze. Mortuary. Orcish Bowmaster. Yes, please. I think here I'm just going to play Verdant Catacombs and pass. I can Thought Seize them next turn. On a turn where they might be trying to leave mana up. If they do, just like Serum Visions or something this turn. That's gas I have. We know their deck plays Spell Snare. Developed Overgrown Tomb. Liliana. Okay. Now I have multiple shots I can shoot. A little awkward that I have to shock in the Overgrown Tomb here to do what I want to do, because that tells them that I have something. Right. Force of Negation, Quantum Riddler, Prismatic Ending, another Quantum Riddler. I'll take that Prismatic Ending. Okay, pass to you. Force of Negation's a little bit of a bummer, but it will cost them 2 cards. Hallowed Fountain. Yeah, I think I should have played Nurturing Peatland. Okay. Got away with this anyway. If they have a white card, they could Solitude this, but it looks like they don't. Or just aren't willing to do that. Either one is a reasonable thing. I'm on board. This would be an insane turn to draw Urborg, because then they'd have to think about that with Force of Negation. Oh, sick. Karn? Pretty good. Alright, I'll at least try to get 2 cards out of their hand with this Liliana. Force Pitching Riddler. There it goes. Paving the way for Karn. Attack for 3. There is a Riddler on Warp. One of these is warped, the other is in proper exile. Surveilled a card to the top of their deck. Right now, Otawara is live. Subtlety is a card we know they play. Interesting. Alright. Might as well Liliana first, because I'm not going to attack into Subtlety anyway. Though I guess if I had attacked with Orc Army, maybe they flash in Subtlety to block it, and then I get my Liliana through. Yeah, I actually just did that fully backwards. I thought about it. I specifically thought about Subtlety and then came to the wrong conclusion about it. Oh, okay, it wasn't Subtlety. They're just digging for a force. I should have attacked with just Orc Army first. Lily's in there. I'm going to discard Spreading Algae, and they can discard something. One of their 5 cards. In for 3. Oh, Casting Solitude is live next turn. We know they have at least Otawara as an option. Discarding Quantum Riddler. So they had to pitch and discard various Quantum Riddlers this game. I like that. Veil of Summer, nasty. I like that. I like that a lot. Karn, the Great Creator. Now they have to decide if they want to counterspell this or hold up the Solitude for combat. Veil of Summer, blowing out a counterspell, something I'm interested in. Again, Subtlety is very good here, but if they Subtlety pre-combat to fight over Karn, I'll just put it on top of my deck, make them sack the Subtlety. Okay, my sideboard, I think I want to get liquid metal coating. Liquid metal coating is banked. This is awkward because I don't want a plus, but I also can't attack. Yeah, I'm just going to pass with these Liliana unused. Oh, this is the main phase. They just fucked up real bad. Okay, my Bowmasters is gone. You can sack Solitude now. Whoops. That matters a lot. Okay, sweet. We cleared that Solitude. Next turn, I can have an uncounterable liquid metal coating. Okay, they scooped. That is a little awkward. I would have had to block Solitude with the Orc Army, or they'd have to clear the Orc Army with something that's not blue. Like bouncing it with Teferi wouldn't have worked there, because I have the Veil. You have to Veil in response to Teferi. Unfortunately, you can't Veil in response to it minusing, because that's cheating. Okay, we got that one through. Barely. My sideboard still looks like my sideboard. Let's go. Ooh, I like this hand. First of all, it doesn't have Spreading Algae and no Urborg in it. It does have Thoughtseize Smallpox. If I draw a Grist or a 6, I can discard that and then unearth it back. Bowmaster, nice. Yeah, I'm just going to get basic Swamp and Thoughtseize my opponent. Unlike last game where waiting till turn 3 made sense, now I actually have stuff to do. Subtlety, Tune the Narrative to Fairy. I could take Tune the Narrative and just not lock their hand as what it is with good information. I don't really want to play against a Fairy. Subtlety is good against almost everything I'm doing. All right, I'm going to take Tune the Narrative and just lock their hand in. Lock in the information that I bought with my Thoughtseize. Flooded Strand. Basic land. I could Smallpox right now. That would, in a way, deal with the Teferi. At least temporarily. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Smallpox. It's pretty annoying for a deck like this to have to lose a land this early. It resolved. I could discard Unearth and just save my Bowmaster. I could discard Bowmaster and unearth it. I could discard... I think I need the lands. It's Bowmaster to unearth it, or Unearth to the Bowmaster. I'm going to discard the Unearth and keep the Bowmaster around. And with Yavimaya in hand, basic Swamp is the same as Overgrown Tomb, but Yavimaya is not the same as... Hold on. I'll have... If I sack Swamp, I'll have a land that taps for green and a land that taps for green-black. And if I sack Overgrown Tomb, the same is true. Okay, I'm going to do that. Just in case there is a Harbinger of the Sea somewhere in the mix. I've already lost to that card once in this league. A Meticulous Archive fetched. They discarded the Subtlety. Keeping Otawara. Mystic Gate. Alright, they're hitting lands over there. So am I. Pass. Teferi is a really awkward card versus Bowmaster. Awkward for the Teferi player. Because if they plus, they don't get a card off it, then I just attack it down to 3, and then they can't bounce anything. If they bounce the Bowmaster, the Orc Army kills Teferi at 1. If they bounce the Orc Army, Teferi dies from the ping, and nothing happens at all. Yeah, basically just have to plus here. Attack Teferi. They can, of course, grind their way back in with Teferi having the shields up. This lets them Wrath of the Skies as an instant. There's a bunch of stuff that is good about this Teferi being in play for them. But it didn't just get to draw a card and time walk me. Looks like they're casting Prismatic Ending. Okay, that's done. And now Teferi can plus or delete itself. All right, it decided to delete itself. And they have 2 cards left in hand. Counterspell is, of course, in these decks. I'm almost out of action. Let's find some more action. Veil of Summer. I will take that and just take the slow road to Karn here. I would like Karn to resolve. And we know they have Force of Negation and Counterspell in the deck. The red mana. I haven't seen a red card yet. I've seen Prismatic Ending, but I don't know if they're going to have, like, a little Flage on the splash or something like that. Dump a Scalding Tarn. Alright, I'm in bad shape to Subtlety, but we already worked through one of those. Oh, the Spreading Algae. Once again, you piece of crap. I play 3 Urborgs. We've played 3 games with the 2 of Spreading Algae in play instead of the 3 of Urborg. Please cast Force of Negation and not Subtlety. God damn it. Alright, well, Karn's on top of my deck. Oh, that's annoying. They probably have 3 Subtleties in their list, and I've already dealt with 1, and then 6 or 7 counterspells, which we didn't see. And now Karn's going to be taking blasts of 3 damage. A lot hard to get control of a game under those circumstances. All right, Karn, come back. Karn resolved. It just like barely does anything. I ported in all my creatures. So like there's not even a block here. I could just get Ensnaring Bridge and try to make this game weird, but I don't think I want to play an Ensnaring Bridge game against control. If I plus Karn to 6, they could attack it for 3, and then it can still make a wish and die next turn, versus making a wish, then they know, then they can just kill it. Yeah, it's basically the same thing for me to plus versus minus here. They might even have a subtlety, and rather than playing it to counter the Karn, just jump it in and attack Karn for 6. I guess Solitude does that too. Yeah, maybe I was supposed to just get the Ensnaring Bridge if that's what I'm doing. But if I draw a removal spell, then I would rather not have Ensnaring Bridge and would rather have Karn still in play. And now they have so many lands that they might not even need to tap the land I put Spreading Algae on, even if I do find Urborg. Thoughtseize, my goodness. Forgot that was in my deck. Thoughtseize you. Force the Negation, Soul Guide Lantern, 2 more subtleties? How about you settle down? How about that? Right, so I guess what I do here is I take Soul Guide Lantern. Oh, subtlety is just Time Walk moving forward. I think it is Soul Guide Lantern, though. Some of my engines are graveyard fueled. All right, take Soul Guide Lantern. Wish for Ensnaring Bridge, which does blank their hand. Oh, Karn goes -2, not -3. What am I even doing? This was just obviously the correct play. Everyone yelling at me about Karn math. You were right. All right, so I get to keep Karn in play, and the game is locked down. The win-win. Well, they knew this was going to happen. This was a pretty obvious setup, but you still got to do it. Okay, Grist. Pretty bad against subtlety, but Karn is what this game's actually about from here. And of course they play Teferis and Prismatic Endings and all these other things. Yes! Oh my goodness. You're saying there's a chance. Spreading Algae. I guess I put it on Mystic Gate. It's hard to say. I'm going to put it on Elegant Parlor, actually. If they use that red, if they draw Prismatic Ending to clear the Karn, let's at least cost that something. I'm going to start working through the subtleties. They're going to be in their hand no matter what. If I just draw and play Grist every turn while Karn ticks up, that's not the worst thing that could happen. And I'm not going to bottom Grist. Yeah, put Grist on top, and I'll pass. So Karn pluses to 3 next turn, and then the turn after that minuses to get the coating, and then I start blowing up their lands. At least that's my plan. Okay, Grist is in. Plus Grist. I milled a Spreading Algae. Oh, that would have been so sad. This would have actually been a good spot to have 2 of those. Plus Karn. And passing the turn. I am just dead if they have like Otawara or Teferi or Prismatic Ending in their hand. They could set up a turn where they play the 3rd subtlety, untap, remove my thing, and then kill me. So Celestial Purge is the reason they let Grist stick around. Oh, wow. Man, cards are good sometimes. Is there anything I would wish for other than coating here? I don't think so. In that case, I'm going to get the coating first, in case it was their plan to bounce Karn for some reason. Now Karn being bounced is good for me instead of bad for me. Okay, the hooks are in. Their hand is Hallowed Fountain. I'm at 5 life. In your upkeep, freeze your Meticulous Archive. All right, if Karn is squeezing a land every turn, the Spreading Algae becomes relevant. There's the Hallowed Fountain from hand. You might be bringing it back, kids. Second Urborg sucks. I'm going to kill their Mystic Gate. I don't want them having perfectly filtered mana if my job here is to mana deny them. I can play this Urborg if I just need my hand to be empty, but right now I don't. Uh-oh, something's happening. No, I'm dead. Shit. All right. Yeah. I mean, we knew this was possible. We knew this was likely even. Yep. GG's. And now I'm at 5 from the Thoughtseize. Don't even have 1 turn to operate under the subtleties. It's fine. If I don't Thoughtseize there, this isn't a lock. However, if I don't Thoughtseize there and their hand is just randomly counterspell, I threw the game for no reason. It was a good battle. We were behind the whole time. Almost made a game out of it. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Receivables has it at youtube.com/thereceivables. I'm on the play for round 4. Been pretty good at die rolls this league. I'll keep this. It doesn't interact on 1, but it's got a lot to do at 2 and 3. Opponent's also on 7. Shadowy Backstreet. There's a number of Esper decks. There's also Orzhov Sewer that this could be. Dumping Basic Swamp's interesting. I'll get Mortuary. Karn. I'd like that eventually. I'll leave it on top. I'll play this extremely suspicious untapped land. I could just go aggro Pox here. Yeah, the problem is Overlord is not a creature and Felia has flash. So it's really hard to actually clip the Orzhov Sewer creatures with a Smallpox. Godless Shrine. Okay. Yep, there's the Overlord. They hit Witch Enchanter. So I know they have another land in hand. I might just play out my creatures here. Like develop the Bowmaster, develop the 6. Get Smallpox down the road, maybe even do it twice in a turn. Swamp, cool. Alright, now Karn is live. Karn and Double Pox both just woke up. But if I double Pox and don't deal with the Overlord, that's a real problem. Because at some point, that'll be a 5/5 that draws cards every turn. Yeah, I think maybe on the play with this hand, I was just supposed to Pox twice and hope that they didn't have a third land and never did anything. But now I have this other plan where Smallpox might not even really be part of it. Or it might be the bullet at the very end, like once I get the hooks in with Karn, I can do other stuff. Okay, we're the version with Psychic Frog. That's kind of exciting, because now my Smallpox matters. Fatal Push with blue-white still floating. Interesting to do it like that. Okay. They didn't have to float mana. They could have just killed the Bowmaster, then did stuff. But okay, Quantum Riddler. That makes sense with Felia as well. Oh my god. Pitch the Witch Enchanter. They're going to deal with 6 here. I guess it's time to ram Karn and try to get the hooks in. Okay. Karn. And I'm going to get the coding. This does leave me open to Thoughtseize, but any Karn Wish would leave me open to Thoughtseize. Unless I wait 2 turns, which is not going to happen. I don't even know that I have the lands to wait 2 turns. Meticulous Archive. Bummer. But okay. That was always going to get me. And now they see my grip full of removal. If I can keep the board clear, then the turn Overlord wakes up, I could Pox it away. They're conveniently showing Felia mana, which I don't like. Right, what else is in this Karn board now? I could grab a Palantir and just start crunching. I could get Ensnaring Bridge and try not to die. I don't think I'm in that spot, though. I'm going to attack with my Orc army. If they have Felia, it just deletes my army anyway and kills Karn anyway. Might as well get my damage in. All right, Karn, make a wish. Yes, get the Palantir of Orthonk. Play Palantir. And I don't think I want to be Poxing here. I just don't think that's right. I think I have to get a creature when I cast Pox out of them. If they just sack one of these tapped lands and flash out Felia anyway, that's no good for me. Okay, Scry, Mysterian Force to the bottom, Nile Spellbomb to the bottom. So this is a Wild Mill. They're at 8, and I do have some 3s and 4s in the deck. Okay, they let me draw. They're already letting me draw. That's exciting. Yeah, there's Felia. And here is the moment we've been planning for by not Poxing on turn 2. Now the double Pox on turn 6, or the Toxic Deluge into Pox on turn 6 is now what we're doing. Emperor of Bones. Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff could happen right now. They can't deal 17, though. That's not happening. I guess attacking with the Orc army didn't quite make sense because If Thalia wants to flicker Overlord, then it gets jump blocked by Orc Army, and then they need another piece to actually deal one to Karn. Yeah, I forgot they would need to flicker my thing in their thing for that play to do everything they want. Okay. They flickered their Overlord. Overlord's back. Milled another Thalia. God, that's annoying. That's the worst card that they could have seen for me. I have to Toxic Deluge here because Smallpoxing will not clear these multiple extra bodies that Emperor of Bones provides at instant speed. Thalia can reset my Palantir back down to 1. Oh wow, they got Solitude back. That's exciting. Does that mean they already have Thalia in hand? What am I supposed to read from that? Okay, I'll play a land. Deluge for 5. This should kill everything. If they ping me with Bowmaster on the way out, then that means they don't have a Thalia, and that's great. Okay, cool. They are getting their 1 extra point, which means they don't have Thalia. Down to 11. And there's 2 cards in their hand right now. I could make it 1. I think I actually like that. This damage is not irrelevant either. I'll discard the other Smallpox. I feel like Karn still has some action to give here. They discarded Relic, so their hand has a Solitude that they can't cast. They're at 7 versus Palantir. That is now on 2. And they let me draw when they were at 8. Now they're at 7. They're like, this is... Oh, wow. They took the mill. Right? I was about to say there's no way they keep feeding me cards. That would just be the opposite of what they did last turn while they're at lower life. But they took the mill, and they're at 4 for it. Psychic Frog. Now I'm disappointed I didn't keep the second Smallpox. But guess what, folks? Oh, while I was gearing up to say guess what, folks, I have a Stonecoil Serpent that can brick Psychic Frog. But guess what, folks, I drew Smallpox. LOL. Alright, gamers. This is what we came for. I'm sacking my basic forest, because that mostly doesn't matter. Alright, they're Hellbent at 3. Now they definitely can't let Palantir do its thing. I'm going to draw a card draw an extra card every turn this game. Loam Liliana. Does Loam matter? Not really. Liliana's good. Bottom, top. They're dead if they mill. I have Liliana in my hand if they don't. Okay, yeah, they just took the mill. Cool. That was sweet. Just patience. It's not often that it's correct to wait until turn 6, 7, and beyond to cast the Smallpox you could cast on turn 2, but we found a reason. I have Pithing Needles and Disruptor Flutes in here. I think those are good. Karn doesn't need access to both. Nile Spellbomb does matter a little bit. They do naturally have swamps in their deck. Alright, I think it's the Splendid Wreck, and I'm bringing in Disruptor Flute. And I'll leave Needle in the board in case that matters for Karn, but I'm mostly already where I want to be against a deck like this one. They have a bunch of creatures, and I have a bunch of creature removal. That's the plan. Maybe this is the match where Spreading Algae destroys the land. We can dream. Okay, the Algae's here. I like Bowmaster, I like Liliana. Yeah, I like all my cards right now. I need a 3rd land. I'd also prefer a green source that didn't hurt me. Thoughtseize. They have to take Spreading Algae. That's so funny. I mean, I wish I could just Algae their 1 land instead, but there's no way that they could play this game if I get to Algae their first land drop. And then every land drop after that, because I have the Urborg too. That's the correct amount of respect. Spreading Algae did something. All right, can I draw the other one immediately? Thoughtseize Bug? Unfortunately, no. It doesn't matter if I'm hiding information here. I'd rather just have the 2 extra life, and this is the correct play to make. Marsh Flats. Yeah, unfortunately, I have to help them out with this Urborg. They can fetch basic planes now and have access to Godless Shrine on the house. They'll either flash in Thalia or fetch a Shadowy Backstreet here anyway. Meticulous Archive, fair enough. Same thing. It's actually better. This is the full Rafine's Tower. Thoughtseize again. I don't think they're going to take Bowmaster here. Okay, resolves. Smallpox and Liliana are both huge deals. And I kind of want to sit on this Bowmaster until it can actually challenge Thalia in combat, because if I play it any time before Thalia comes down, Thalia flickers the token and it's bigger than the Orc. If I play it anytime after, then I can ping and block. Okay, so they saw the Liliana, still took Smallpox. That makes me think they're out of lands, but they have more creatures to deploy. I don't think this deck has enough blue cards to support Force of Negation. And now that we're doing something different, I'm going to play out the Bowmasters. If they had just left up 2 mana, I would have held it. But now we're doing this. Liliana, delete your frog, attack for 2. They're already at 10 from all the damage they've taken. We did see Relic game 1. Like, Ketramos is in this deck somewhere. Clarion Conqueror. All right, well, Planeswalkers don't work. I'm glad I got a removal spell in before that. Urborg, Boseiju. Lands still work. I can draw a card off beat land. I could also just cast Karn. Yeah, I think just having Karn in play is fine. If they want to attack it a few times, that leaves them open on the backswing. Figure it out. If I draw one of the million removal spells in my deck, I'd rather have Karn on the board already. I think they must have drawn the Conqueror last turn, or else they could have set up just pass, play Conqueror, Liliana and Karn don't work, and then Psychic Frog is safe if they were just a little more patient. So either they were impatient or they drew Conqueror that turn, and I generally try to give my opponent benefit of the doubt when there's like a good play and a worse play, and they make the one that appears worse. Thought sees me. Thought sees me. Hell yeah. Shock you. Got a free shock just right out of the ether. And they can't afford to attack because their life total's low. That's why I played out the Karn. And now we're on the loose. Obviously, Bowmaster dies here too, but Karn gets right to work. Okay, I'm going to play Boseiju. I'm going to Toxic D. Zap everything for 3. Plus Liliana immediately. We'll discard Urborg. They discarded a frog. Karn's making a wish. I'm just going to get the coding. That's the best thing to do. And I'm going to play like they got nothing. Felia's pretty good here, but Felia's always good. If they can sign to memory this, that's a card out of their hand. They got 1 card left. Felia's in. Okay, we're going to go to their turn. And I'm going to freeze the Meticulous Archive. They can flicker out Karn to get what their white mana back, but then Karn comes back at 5, and that's probably way worse for them. They could definitely just kill Liliana. That's happening. Bone Zone is a little too slow. They don't have enough mana to do Emperor stuff. They can take the Bowmaster out of my graveyard. I'm not the biggest fan of that. That means even if I spend a turn wishing for Ensnaring Bridge to try to lock this down, then Karn still dies. Okay, I need a draw here. Felia targeted nothing. There was just nothing to target. Thoughtseize unlikely to be really what I'm trying to do with my life. All right, I'm going to draw off Nurturing Peatland. Okay, land's not great. Might as well Thoughtseize. What's going on over there? Consigned to Memory was the last card. All right, I will take you off white mana, but I am pretty far behind right now. I'm just going to play out lands and surveil and hope that I rip another sweeper. And stupid Emperor of Bones. Also stupid Orc Army. If there just wasn't a Bowmaster under Emperor, I could have gotten Ensnaring Bridge there and locked the game up. But there is. You drew Psychic Frog? Oh god, Quantum Riddler. This card has been awful for me this whole friggin' league. Alright, now I lose Karn, and Quantum Riddler draws 3 cards this turn, and it's going to stay in play because of Felia. Gross. Alright, I'm way behind now. How sick would it be if I had a Dryad Arbor in my deck to block and stabilize? I don't, and I don't think it's correct to have it either. Okay, so I am going to fetch an Overgrown Tomb first, and then an Undercity Mortuary, Underground Mortuary, what's that called? I'm doing it in this order because if I surveil something I like to the top, then I can't fetch with the other one. Isle Spellbomb is not it. Quantum Riddler's back. They have 3 cards in hand, and suddenly 8 power in play from being Hellbent last turn. Alright, they got me. That was a sick comeback. We were 1 loyalty on Karn away from winning that game. Super tight. Yeah, nothing. I guess they are a Thoughtseize deck. Their removal is mostly white, but I did get Thoughtseized a lot there. Yeah, maybe I'll move that Disruptor Flute out, and is there actually another spot for a Veil, or is this a one-of thing? I like most of everything else that's going on in this situation. Is Veil better than Spellbomb? I don't think so. Is being able to cantrip into my removal spells and keeping their Overlord of the Baelmark moderate, keeping their Psychic Frog on the ground, those are all kind of useful things. We saw Clarion Conqueror, but that's just another thing that dies to my removal. But if they're going to be using Thoughtseizes to protect Clarion Conquerors, okay, I'm in for this Veil of Summer. I talked myself into it. My opponent did cast 3 Thoughtseizes that game, and 2 of them were good. All right, I'll keep. I have the combo. I wish I had the Veil to protect the combo. If this hand had Veil of Summer in it, I would feel like I could never lose. Unfortunately, that's not the case. First appearance of Castle Lochthwain, though. We've had a lot of spots where this would have been a good one to have access to. I need green mana next turn, just in case they don't cooperate and play a swamp naturally. Like, I have to be able to Urborg them into a swamp. Oh, yeah! We're going to spread some algae this game. Oh my god, we're going to spread so much algae. And I'm going to sandbag the Urborg, play the Catacombs, algae up this shadowy backstreet. As Richard Garfield intended, just naturally on a swamp. Give me that. I hope they try to play slow and just play like another land that try to work around it. I've got a Surveil land here. Mortuary. Karn. Keep it around. That's the plan eventually. Castle Lochthwain. Grist. I'm glad I'm able to curve out here with threats, because if they could just sit back and develop their lands and never tap the algae land, that's pretty sweet for them. But putting them in a position where they either fall behind or they lose lands is ideal. Plus Grist. All right, passing the turn. We'll see if there's a Felia coming or just a Surveil land or what the plan is with this algae. Hallowed Fountain. Not a swamp. That's unlucky for me. Oh, they are spreading the algae. Let's go. We did it. All right, Felia's in. Shadowy Backstreet's gone. Spreading algae's back. And I can go Urborg, Algae on their 2 lands next turn. They might just pop off here with Overlord. But popping with Overlord here doesn't beat Grist. Like, I can just minus Grist. Like, I just don't block, minus Grist, kill Overlord. They do draw a bunch of cards, though. And they know about one of my algaes. Like, if they take a turn off the Thoughtseize algae to protect their lands, they're going to be so mad. They can commit Felia every turn to attack, flicker out the algae, and then use their land, and then algae comes back, but then Felia's not doing anything else. Ugh. All right, big riddles. Fetched another non-swamp. I can kill the Riddler with Grist. Yeah, Grist is going to die too, but I think that's worth it. Yeah, I'm not going to block. That's not how any of this works. They might have Solitude to blow out the removal. That would be disappointing. But I don't think there's anything I can do about it. Not unless I draw on a Bowmaster. Oh, wow. That's really good. Okay, now I'm extremely hyped. All right, delete Grist. It'll cost them Solitude from their hand or the Riddler in play. Okay, cool. It worked. Kill Quantum Riddler. And now I'm going to play Urborg, play Smallpox. I'm going to sack Mortuary and I think discard an Algae here. Or I have 1 extra mana. I could just Spellbomb them first and try to buy an extra card. Yeah, that's better. Right, Spellbomb you. Maybe I don't need 2 Algaes. The second Karn, I would rather discard than the second Algae, now that I got my combo. Got my hooks in. Smallpox. Discard bonus Karn. Sack the Mortuary. That's the best one to buy back with Loam later. And spread some algae onto this Hallowed Fountain. Okay, again, the usual spot of I don't really have anything going on, but they are extremely disrupted. They missed a land drop, that's awesome. And I did not miss a land drop, that's more awesome. Karn, if they consign to memory this, their land's gone. Didn't consign. I think I just want to grab Palantir. Or no, I'm going to get the coding still. The spreading algae comes back no matter how the land dies. It's not part of the trigger. I get the coding, and don't give them the option to bank lands for a while and then do stuff all at once. Just start blowing them up. Okay, throwing their land away. This is probably to Thoughtseize me. You're losing it either way, might as well. Algae coding is my hand. There's the Thoughtseize. Took the coding, and now I'm going to get Palantir and just start burying them. Stonecoil Serpent versus Palantir. It's Palantir. Yavimaya. And I'm going to fetch... All right, they don't want to play anymore. We did it. A full algae squeeze. They could not stop the spread. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in the final round with a really interesting hand. Thoughtseize, 5 lands, but the other spell is Spreading Algae, and I have the Urborg. I am going to try this, even though it's a little messy, but Nurturing Peatland's a redraw. I have the Disruption into the land destruction strat. Okay, we are up against Ruby Storm. I'm going to take the Ruby Medallion. The good news is this matchup was going to be bad no matter what our hand looks like. It's Golden Tarn, Karn. All right, we're moving in the right direction here. They'll probably fetch a Surveil land in the end step. The bad news is if they spike a Ral or a Ruby here, they only need to tap this land one more time this game to win. Kept it on top, hate that. All right, Preordain, we're going to get a turn. Though if they get to 3 mana, they might not need to tap their land twice anyway. Okay, Wooded Foothills is not the Arid Mesa I saw. Mortuary. Yavimaya, get out of here. 6. Is this better than land destruction? I don't think so. I'm going to spread my Algae onto that thing. Elegant Parlor. Dumped Arid Mesa. There's one unknown in the hand, and they're about to draw another one. This is a spot where I do wish I had a Tormod script in my sideboard. Being able to Karn, get Graveyard Hate, immediately bank it would help me here. And if I don't draw a land that isn't Urborg, then it's not like I could even wait a turn, develop 6, and then move forward. There's the Mesa we knew about. Friends Resolve. Okay. Ruby Medallion. Shit. Okay, so we are imminently dead. Grist does not help. Yeah, if I had Tormod script in my sideboard, I would actually feel pretty good here, but I don't, so I feel bad instead. And I can't not develop Karn. I can't even Thoughtseize. I guess what I could do is draw a card with Nurturing Peatland and just hope it's Nile Spellbomb. Then I'm down 2 lands for next turn. That's not an option. How dead am I? I think the answer is extremely. So they play the Ruby. They get 3 mana right away. 4 mana. Past in Flames with 1 floating. 3, 4 mana again. Then with that 4 mana, they could flip at least 4 more cards. I guess I have to play to my outs here. Urborg, Karn. Show them I don't have a Tormod script. I think what I'm going to try to do here is get Liquid Metal Coating and maybe trick them into thinking they have another turn. And then I can get Damping Sphere or Grafdigger's Cage. If I just get the Sphere or the Cage, then they're going to send no matter what. Which they'll probably do anyway. But if they do, if I can convince them to take their time and set up a little bit, that's the only way I can win this game. There's the Ruby. Land from hand means they don't even have to wonder about losing their falls or anything. They're just good to go. Heretic Ritual. A second ritual from hand. All right, we were dead without the second ritual. Oh god, that impulse just hit 2 more rituals. We're extremely cooked. I will let them play this out. The Wish is in their hand. They're going to flip their deck here. If Storm gets to 16, I'll just concede. But Karn could conceivably battle like Stormscale Scion or something like that. But they should be good to Grape Shot me here with plenty to give. Second Ruby and Ral. All right, lose 15 flips in a row is my new plan. Well, they won the flip on the first try. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. We don't have to keep doing that. All right, 1 turn late or 1 deck building decision late. If Cage is Tormod script, I probably still lose to Ral there. Like, they had plenty going on without the Past in Flames even coming into play. Yeah, okay. How do I sideboard here? I think I just want my Graveyard Hate in the deck. Toxic Deluge should come out. Splendid Reclamation should come out. Chalice is good on 2, but not on any other number against them. I don't think I'm going to mess with that. I think I should just pile up on things that are useful to me in my actual deck. Karn could get Stone Brain if I want to leave something in exile for Karn to get. Bitter Triumph can kill Ral. Smallpox blowing up a land, like keeping them off the 2 to get started, is still useful. Grist is really slow and bad. And maybe Stone Brain should be in. Karn just costs so much mana in this matchup that if I have time to deploy Karn, get something, and play that thing, Chalice on 2 or Liquid Metal Coating to start blowing up lands both sound reasonable, but otherwise I'd rather just have as many good draws as I can have in my deck. And I think it is a Grist that comes out. Okay, let's do it. All right. Lots of good stuff here. I will keep. I think I'm going to deploy Nile Spellbomb here. Have to get Overgrown Tomb to do that. And I might just aggressively Smallpox. I hope I draw a land sooner than later. But once they have 2 lands, if they have Ral, I'd rather wait to box them. If they have Ruby, I need to box them as soon as possible. And without Thoughtseize, I can't know which one they have. Elegant Parlor. Karn. Yikes. I can't really afford to Smallpox here because I don't have a land to play. I hope they develop Ral this turn, and then I can at least Smallpox for value. And now that I have Cage backing it up, I can Spellbomb just for the cycle. All right, please cast Ral. Heck yeah. Saying there's a chance. End of turn, bomb you for the card. Sick. Found a land. And a Spellbomb. Okay. I am going to discard Spreading Algae. I'm going to play Spellbomb, and then I'm going to Smallpox sacking the forest and discarding Algae. Though, does Karn matter? Is Algae better than Karn? Only if I draw exactly Urborg. Alright, I'm sacking the Algae. Discarding the Algae. It discarded a Wish. We got the full Smallpoxing. I played Valakut's Awakening as a land. Bitter Triumph. A little stinky. Yeah, I'll just go for the cantrip here. There's good cards I could draw, like Thoughtseize. Hit my land drop. Smallpox. Alright. Dangerous, but there it is. Life from the Loam's a great draw now. Ren's Resolve, hit Mountain Preordain. The Mountain's really good for them. They're not showing the ability to cast Preordain, but that could change quickly. Thoughtseize. Alright, we're doing something. What's going on over there? Floodmaw, Impulse, Manamorphose. Oh, that's risky. If I take the Manamorphose, they could just whiff on blue and the hand doesn't work. But the Impulses see so many cards. All right, I'm going to take the Manamorphose. I got short-term problems right now. I can't worry about the long-term ones of if they thread together Past in Flames plus a functional graveyard, then they can Floodmaw. Yeah, they missed on blue. Sick. The gamble paid off. There's a Desperate Ritual and a Preordain in the Exile Zone. And they hit a tapped blue land. Moving forward, that'll matter. Starting next turn. Come on, deck. Disruptor Flute. Interesting. I can name Into the Floodmaw, or I could name Reckless Impulse with that. Is that even good? I don't think so. I think I'm supposed to hold on to this flute. Like, if they start doing stuff and then bounce my Cage, like, in response to bouncing Cage, I could flute naming Past in Flames and just make their life harder. Exiled Ren's Resolve and Poetic Ritual. Ren's Resolve hits a bunch of lands, and the tap land is the one they went with. The hand is still Reckless Impulse and Into the Floodmaw. Or no, they just cast the Reckless Impulse. Yes, I think that's right. I hope that one didn't come out of exile and I lost track of it. I have no idea. Alright, I could Disruptor Flute Past in Flames right now and just get that box checked, but then it's something they can plan around. Okay, cool. I can play the game again. There's no basics I can fetch here. Have to take the beats, which is a shame because that's just less they need to do with a Grape Shot. Okay, passing the turn, and I'm hoping that one of the 2 unknown cards in their hand and the top of their deck is not Past in Flames. They've got a Poetic Ritual and 2 lands they can play from exile right now. Ruby, 1 unknown available to them right now. Preordain. Okay, good news, good news. Top, bad news, bad news. Poetic Ritual, they're gonna cast that no matter what, just to put it in the graveyard. Uh-oh, they took the damage. Ren's Resolve. Hit Grape Shot. What even is the storm count? I don't think it's 11. I think it's like 5, 4, something around there. Their hand is Floodmaw, and they have mana and Grape Shot here. I think they're supposed to Grape Shot to kill my Bug and Grist, unless they think they can get back up to 5+ Storm next turn and do it all at once. But they know that, or no, they don't know the top of their deck because they just did it. Okay, yeah, they're gonna clear out the board here. Yeah, banking the ritual but spending the grape shot makes sense. This is where it starts to hurt that I had to cantrip so early off of my spell bombs. I could just smallpox to clear the flood maw. Oh, that clears the flood maw too. Temporarily. This gives me one turn where if the top of their deck is Fast in Flames, I lose. But most other things are okay. Alright. Well then, let's do that. They're drawing wild right now. So they're gonna gift me a fish and then discard nothing, and I will discard probably Bitter Triumph. Alright. That's in my hand. Discard Bitter Triumph and hope that I don't die right now. They're spending mana, they found something. Or this might just be to get the ritual. Okay, one random redraw. The ritual has been spent. Moment of truth. Pass priority, pass priority. Yeah, the mana just burned off, and now Grafdigger's Cage gets to come back down. Oh, sick, I can unearth Grist intermittently. Okay, I'm gonna plus Lily and discard this smallpox that I don't think I'm gonna need anymore. That gets their hand empty. It's probably like a ritual. Yeah. There's not a lot of cards that would make sense for them to have but not cast there. Randomly sneaking the unearth under my own Grafdigger's Cage that they chose to bounce, which was correct, but, you know, it's just funny that I get away with this. That's just good deck building. All right, now I'm starting to apply pressure. I got my hooks back in. They gotta thread something together without access to their graveyard and only getting one card a turn that immediately gets discarded every turn. They pass to me. Some redundant cards here, plus Lily. Did they draw another Flood Maw? Maybe I'm supposed to activate Grist before I activate Lily. Okay, they're bouncing Lily. Sure. That's fine. I discard Karn. Activate Grist. Replay Liliana, who I will not plus, because that's not important here. Yeah, they got a Rail. Liliana will just eat that. There are 0 creatures in my graveyard right now. Lily, Smoke Rail, plus Grist. I hit a Loam. That's sweet. Now I can Dredge Loam, get way ahead of Liliana forever. It does not change the clock to play Bowmaster, but it could. They do have draw spells in their deck, and I guess I want to make that worse for them. And, oh, if I Dredge Loam and hit a creature, it does change the clock. Yeah, literally 1 creature. Dredge Loam, 0 creatures in my graveyard. Good stuff. I don't even have a creature in my hand to discard to Liliana. Okay, Loam targeting Peatland, Forest. We could do the trick again, where I just immediately Dredge Loam and hit any creature and I'm good. Loam, 0 creatures in my graveyard, still awesome. Okay, plus Liliana. I guess I'll just kill you in 2 turns instead of 1. Discard Forest. Activate Grist. Well, all that dredging did reveal Damping Sphere and Stone Brain in my deck. Maybe I could have won this game without showing them those things. But also, I'd rather not give them a single turn if I can avoid it. Alright, classic turn 12 slow squeeze Pox win. I didn't see anything there that would want me to change what I'm doing. Spreading Algae is extremely mediocre, but I don't really have a better card to have instead. Yeah, same deck, let's go. Okay, the final game to determine a positive record in this match or not. I am going to keep... I have multiple hate pieces, and I have Alborg and or Algae. They just asked me my score in the league. I can't imagine why this matters. Okay, now I am set to Algae starting next turn. I'll play out Grafdigger's Cage. I can kill a Ral. I can start eating their lands, and I can attack their graveyard in 2 different ways. Pretty reasonable spot. They do, of course, have wins that don't need the graveyard. Yeah, Ruby's a lot better than Ral here. I'm going to get my basic Forest. This costs me the same amount of life this turn, and then less life every subsequent turn. And it gets the Forest out of my deck. Alright, Algae to this Thundering Falls. Nile Spellbomb. Pass. Reckless Impulse. Finds Ral. I can beat Ral. Elegant Parlor enters tap. That's pretty sweet. That means there's no free money here on deploying the Parlor while developing Ral. Okay, Ral's in. They can cast various random instants. Liliana's good. Bitter Triumph's better, though. Alright, I'm going to pay 3 life to attack Ral here. If they just like cast a ritual to try to YOLO flip Ral, it will cost them their land. Okay, they just accepted that it's gone. And I sandbagged the second green source in case they did YOLO flip Ral or try, like take their 50-50. Then my Algae comes back and I can immediately spread something else. Impulse hits Floodmaw and Ritual. Glad I have 2 graveyard objects here. Parlor. And their only blue source is the one that dies if they tap it. Dumped Grape Shot to the graveyard. Verdant Catacombs versus Swamp. I'm going to play Catacombs. That can get the tap land, the Surveil land. Developing Liliana versus Grist here. I know right now they could bounce Liliana in response. But in response to what? Alright, yeah. I don't need to pay life here. Okay, I'm going to Liliana. And I'll plus. I don't need the Swamp anymore. And I got to start reducing their options. That's how I win this game, when they have no options. Okay, we're into the turn where Floodmaw and Ritual are still alive. Last turn, they get access to those. Artist Talent. All right, we got a gamer. Yeah, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you could discard a card if you do draw a card. This can shred through their deck pretty hard looking for answers. Ritual is a rummage here. Discarded a land. Leveling up to level 2, your non-creature spells cost 1 less. Now, Wish costs 1. Most of their spells already cost a single red. Now, the couple of spells that cost more, like Past and Flames and Wish, cost less. All right, end step, fetch. Get the Mortuary. Don't want to land. Right, into the Floodmaw just burned off. Grist. Plus Grist. I will play out my land and plus Liliana. If they bounce Liliana with Into the Floodmaw now, then I have to discard Liliana to herself. I could discard Spreading Algae, actually, and keep Liliana, because that ends up back in my hand as well. And either way, they're going to lose their Thundering Falls over it. Okay, so they are bouncing Liliana in response. And I have to decide if Spreading Algae or Liliana is something I'd rather have access to here. It's certainly Liliana. Okay, so now the land becomes destroyed, and then Spreading Algae returns to my hand, and then I have to discard a card. And I think they have enough mana that I can discard the Spreading Algae, and I have to control their cards at this point. Just good deck building. Even when you're hellbent, Liliana doesn't discard herself. Discard Spreading Algae, and now I have 2 threats. Okay, the world's slowest Stone Rain. 1 mana Stone Rain that took 5 turns to kick in. Now they have sticky blue mana again, but down to 1 card. Level 3. Okay, if a source you control deal non-combat damage to an opponent, or a permanent they control, it deals that much damage plus 2. Opponent is officially juiced. I'm going to get an Overgrown Tomb tapped right now. Well, it's nice and easy to do that. Liliana of the Veil. We'll discard my other Liliana and the last card in my opponent's hand. Plus Grist. Alright, we got them back into the squeeze. I don't want to call it a lock, but it's definitely a squeeze. Preordain. They have nothing to loot away with Artist Talent, so that's pretty much blank. If they could Natural Storm, just cantrip, 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 Grape Shot. The Grape Shot plus 2, dealing 3 each time. They only need 5 Storm instead of 14 right now. That's a long way to go, though. Just gotta hope that doesn't happen. Oh god. They just impulsed into 2 Manamorphoses. Well, if it's in there, this is what it looks like. I think I have to draw with Peatland here. Now I'm looking for the Damping Sphere, something to help lock this down. A Chalice of the Void Hunt 2 would be great right now. 6 is not what I'm looking for. Grist deals 0 damage. Non-land permanents have Retrace. However, I can't cast creatures from my graveyard. I can cast Karn from my graveyard. Someday. And I can cast Nile Spellbound from my graveyard. That's interesting. Alright, I'm going to activate Grist. Build over another Peatland. I will play out Ancient Tomb, and I'll plus Liliana. I'll make my attack and hope that these Manamorphoses don't get there. They're going to have a lot to work with here. Because if they draw a brick for their turn, the Artist Talent makes that 2 potential redraws at relevant cards. There's a lot of action here. Oh, that was from hand. That was not even the one that I knew about. I guess the question is, how many Grape Shots are in this list? And how quickly can they find them? God, that's also from hand. All right, so all 4 Metamorphoses in their deck were in a row right now on top of their deck. Okay, finally one from exile. Discarding Scalding Tarn. They're going to see so many cards this turn. A Wish is, I think, lethal with the help of Artist Talent. The Grape Shot will get there. Just got to hope they miss. Okay, the Metamorphose from exile. They're out of banked cards that I know about. They're still looting away lands. 3 cards in hand. Moment of truth. I hope it's just 2 more rituals and a Past in Flames. Oh, I can cast Spreading Algae off of 6 too. That rules. Ruby Medallion. That's another loot. Discard another land. 2 cards left. Yeah, this Artist Talent doing insane numbers. It's been worth 4 cards this turn already, and it's the thing that can make their Storm easily lethal. If they had to do 14 here, I wouldn't be worried. But it's so easy to convert this into a Grape Shot with a single tutor. Past in Flames. Okay, they're just doing that to loot. I don't need to respond to this or address it in any way. I have Grafdigger's Cage. They're down to their last card in hand. Okay, resolves. They did not loot away that last card. That's scary. Into the Floodmaw, targeting Grafdigger's Cage. That doesn't save you because they have the Spellbomb as well. Okay, so now they're just dead. They're out of cards, out of redraws, no graveyard. I got a bunch of fish. All right, holding on to that Spellbomb forever. The double layer of graveyard hate was necessary. Okay, draw for turn, Smallpox. I'm going to start by attacking with all my creatures, because 6 does something when it attacks. I mill 3, I get back an Urborg from among the 3. That can let me retrace Karn or Algae or Nile Spellbomb. Oh, I can actually retrace anything right now because my cage is out of play, but there isn't a creature in my graveyard I'd want there. Okay. Does Karn do anything? Or should I just be refiring Spellbomb? Karn gets Chalice on 2 multiple turns from now, which is not where I want to be. Okay. Spellbomb from the graveyard, discarding Urborg, Life from the Loam, targeting Peatland, Lochthwain, play Peatland, plus Grist, Algae. All right, Algae on your blue. This rules. Discard Peatland, play Grafdigger's Cage. Oh, can't cast spells. All right, I was just misreading that the whole time. I should have Algaed 1 more of their lands before I did that. It's fine. I'll discard Castle Lochthwain. Okay. My mistake. I was so excited. Nope, there's a whole second line of text there. Friends resolve. All right, they're still taking shots here. There was not a Beseiju to remove Artist Talent. And they're out of gas. There's nothing to loot, nothing useful to bounce. We did it. Squeezed out Ruby Storm for the positive record. They have not conceded yet. I guess they're going to into the Floodmaw 6 to stay alive. I don't really care about that. All right, move to combat. Yep, Spreading Algae. Kills another land. Who knew Spreading Algae was so good against Loam Pox? Right, they're gifting me a fish. This bounces 6, which puts them to 2. Smallpox could put them to 1. I'm just going to attack. I'm in combat now. I can decide if I'm going to draw a card next. All right, so Smallpox is actually lethal here because I can discard 6 when I cast Smallpox and then Ultimate Grist. Okay, sweet. Black, black, Smallpox, discard 6, sack a fish, sack forest. There's now 1 creature card in my graveyard. Each opponent loses life equal to the creatures in my graveyard. Kablooey! The positive record with modern Spreading Algae Loam Pox. Immediate feedback on the deck. Spreading Algae is too cute. Rage knew that when we talked about it. We had a session where we talked about that. There were multiple games, especially that game versus the Jeskai or Blue-White control deck, where I spent 2.5 games with Spreading Algae in my hand, but no Urborg. And I narrowly, just barely lost that match. You just make that something else. Something disruptive, something threatening, maybe something somewhere in the middle, like Lord of Bones. Just something that moves your game plan forward while being meaningfully disruptive to the format. Splendid Reclamation. have vague memories of suggesting this card, but I don't remember why. It was not good at any point. If we retool the deck to be an Urza Saga strategy, where, like, to do that, I guess if we go -2 Algaes, minus Unearth, minus probably Castle Lochthwain doesn't go in that deck. We don't really need Yavimaya either. Like, even just 2 or 3 Sagas and then add 1 or 2 more tutorable bullets with Saga, like a Pithing Needle or whatever. Then Splendid Reclamation becomes interesting because returning 2 or 3 Urza Sagas in the mid game would destroy most decks. But again, I think without completely retooling the deck, if we just turn Spreading Algae and Splendid Reclamation into meaningfully impactful, like modern powerful level Magic cards that cost 1 or 2, I think this deck improves dramatically. That said, Spreading Algae did have some moments. It did completely lock one player out of the game, and it did very slowly over the course of 15 plus turns kill 2 lands out of Ruby Storm in the final positive record clinching game. And you can get as frisky as you want with the land base. Like, if we don't need 3 Urborgs to turn on Spreading Algae, maybe you play 1 Urborg, and then you have room for something like Field of Ruin, something that can pick off specific tech lands. That's something that might be worth looping with Life from the Loam. There's lots you can do here, is what I'm saying. And you could be as cute as you want or as spiky as you want, but I just won more matches than I lost in a real modern league tournament with Loam Pox. So put that on the historical record. Rage, thank you for asking me to play this. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed it. I know you did. The Pox sickos always come out. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Check out my Patreon to support what I'm doing here, and I'll see you next time.